here at West Valley Center for Spiritual Living.
Good morning.
Reverend Clyde, thank you. Everybody wanted to thank you for coming up with this pajama theme.
And then he's not here.
So I was rebel. I was a rebel. I did not do it, but all the ladies almost in the audience wore up some funky pajamas, so thank you, Clyde, for not showing up after your great idea. Anyway, yeah, he's watching. I know he's watching. Anyhow, welcome to West Valley Center, and I had a great week. I hope you all did. This is the start of a new great one. Yep. So thank you all for being here and letting me be here as well. So with that gratitude, we'd like to start the service with a song called This Is a Day, and if you're ready, I'm almost ready, I believe.
I'm ready.
All right.
This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Sing. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day to receive it. A day I can feel my spirit set free. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and higher up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day all my dreams come true. Can feel the Spirit working its way through. This is the day. It's time to fly higher and higher up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
It's a day. Look who's coming. It's Care Bear.
Who is it?
Who is it? Hello. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I am Juliana Smith, and I am your board president. And also, I am Good Luck Bear.
Are we on?
Is it a bear costume or is it a mic thing? Or am I not close enough? It's a me thing. It's always me. Well, happy Halloween, everybody. Many of you know that it is my favorite holiday. I absolutely adore it. And I'm so happy to see everybody dressed up. And I know Clyde got you guys with the jammies, but for good reason. Today is the sound bath, and he wanted everybody to be cozy while you stayed for the sound bath. So we appreciate you all playing along. Thank you so much, and we love to see your costumes. So welcome to the West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to everybody who's watching online. We have a couple more announcements, just quick things I want to mention. The drum circle resumes. We're back, and it starts next Sunday after service. That's November 2nd. And it'll be after service with Reverend Susan Peterson, and it's in here. So just enjoy your treats and come over here, and then you'll be we'll be able to welcome you to the drum circle then. The other thing that I want to mention is that those of you who won Gourmets for God, thank you so much for bidding, for winning, for participating. It was such an amazing event. We raised over $3,000 for the center. And we'd love you to pay up. So we're going to have, I'll be out there in the bookstore collecting money today, and then we'll have Phoenix out there next week collecting money for that. So we'll have you guys meet us in the bookstore and get that paid for. Other than that, we'll go ahead and read our vision statement together. We are a loving, joy-filled community, honoring the many passed to God as we learn and live the science of mind principles. And so it is. And so we will go ahead and sit back, relax. Don't get too cozy because you're in your jammies. Oh, we have one more announcement. I'm so sorry, I almost forgot. We are going to welcome up our Projects of Love people.
Well, do we know how to celebrate life? Woo! We are Projects of Love, and we are here because we have the honor of choosing 4 times a year a organization in the community that is doing phenomenal things, and the church donates to that organization. And today we're shining a light on an organization that is in the community, and we have a representative from that organization here. You may know her.
You're not going to say what it is? Just how I want to speak to people in my pajamas. Thanks, Clyde.
Yes.
Anyway, the organization the church has chosen, thank you very much, is Sun City Four Paws Cat Rescue. Many of you are familiar with that, and it's literally around the corner. I took Gloria there a couple weeks ago, and you just go east on Peoria, across the little bridge, turn left at the Moose Lodge on 96th Avenue, and we're way at the end of the road. And Sun City Four Paws has actually been saving cats as a no-kill shelter for over 30 years. Wow. We celebrate our 30th anniversary next May. So you can join us on Facebook. Last year we adopted over 1,000 cats. Wow. We take cats into our rescue. You know, people bring us mother cats with new babies. Unfortunately, the way, tough times, we get cats who have been dumped outside, and we do all of their vet bills, sometimes thousands and thousands of dollars. So for a $200 adoption or a $150 adoption. You may be pleased to know that any cat adopted from Sun City Four Paws comes back to us in the event you can no longer care for it. So you can adopt a cat and know that that cat will be taken care of after, if you're in the hospital, if you pass away, and you don't have to burden your relatives with that. So you can have a furry friend as we get up in age. We also have for $50 a great number of cats that are over 10 years old who have come back to us because of that situation, and they're just looking to live out their lives in a wonderful home. They're all healthy. They have their shots and spay and neutering, and we do senior blood panels on them. So, don't hesitate if you want a furry friend to come down and see us, and we appreciate your support. Always the thrift store, old blankets and towels that you may donate, we take to Four Paws as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Jill. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you, guys. I love each and every one of you. I promise you I do.
Thank you so much. And it is a very good cause, a good organization. I've actually have some personal experience with them as well. So now let's sit back and get cozy. Don't fall asleep. We're going to do a little meditation and then Reverend Karen's message.
So just take a deep breath and relax as we move within.
I will make a quiet place within my heart, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place.
That quiet place where God resides within each one of us. That God that lives in, through, and as us right here, right now. That sweet spirit of love and joy and courage and peace and happiness and fun. It is all God. And knowing that each one of us is that divine expression of God, that God resides in each one of us right here, right now. In all of us in the sanctuary, those watching online, and those who cannot be with us. We are all the divine expressions of God. And I speak a word of blessing on behalf of all of us here, that we are in the divine right place, right time. And for the Bradfords, knowing that their beautiful music touches our hearts and souls, that joy that we receive when we listen to their beautiful music, that beautiful harmony. And for Reverend Karen, knowing that she is speaking the words of God that flow absolutely effortlessly through her right here, right now. That every word that she speaks touches us, and that we receive a divine nugget that we can take with us on our journey home and live throughout the week. And for all other faith traditions, knowing that there are many paths to that one God. And I'm so grateful for this day. And with gratitude, I release my words into the law, knowing it is already done. It is so, and so it is. My reading today is from the book Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. It comes from a section called In Saying Yes Lies the Antidote to Our Fear. The phrase say yes means to agree to those things that life hands us. Saying yes means letting go of resistance and letting in the possibilities that our universe offers in new ways of seeing the world. It means relax bodily, to calmly survey the situation, thereby reducing upset and anxiety. Aside from the emotional benefits, the physical benefits are enormous. Saying yes allows us to be the creators of our lives rather than victims of circumstance. Yes makes us feel connected and allows us to move forward in a way that helps heal our own lives and the world around us. Conversely, saying no means to be a victim. How could this happen to me? Saying no means to block, to fight, to resist opportunities for growth and challenge. Saying yes or saying no creates tension, exhaustion, wasted expenditure of energy, emotional upheaval. Or worse, it creates apathy. I can't cope. I can't go on. There is no hope. The truth of the matter is that saying yes is our only hope. Not only saying yes, our antidote to dealing with day-to-day disappointments, rejections, and missed opportunities, such as the flu, a leaking roof, a traffic jam, a flat tire, a lousy date, and so on. It is the miracle tool for dealing with our deepest, darkest fears. So let's take a moment to contemplate those words. And so it is. And happy Halloween.
I'll say yes. In the cool of the evening when everything is getting kind of groovy, I call you up and ask you if you'd like and go into me with the movie. First you say yes, and then you say no, and then you stop and say, all right. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you. You always keep me guessing when I never seem to know what you are thinking. And if a fella looks at you and I know you're little, I will be a winking. I get confused because I don't know where I stand. And then you smile and hold my hand. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you. If you decide someday to stop this little game that you are playing, I'm gonna tell you all the little things my heart's been dying to be saying. And just like a ghost, you've been a haunting my dreams. So I propose on Halloween. Love is kind of crazy with a spooky little girl like you. Sing it, cat. Spooky.
Oh, that was so fun. I want to be cool like the Bradfords. Aren't the Bradfords cool? Would you adopt me and then I can maybe just have a little bit of your cool?
Yes, you can.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. I sing that song every Halloween and I was singing it all morning long when I came in and they were rehearsing it. I'm just on fire. It's spooky. It's spooky. All right. I'm doing this because this costume wouldn't let me do it the other way. Good morning. Good morning, and happy Halloween. It is the Sunday before Halloween, and it's my favorite day of the year because I get to dress up. And I would like my picture taken with the bumblebee, Molly, right? Is it Molly? Dolly. Oh, it rhymes. Yes, I'd like to have my picture taken with Miss Dolly before the day is over. Not with Rod, though. That kind of scared me. That was... No, I do not. I do think, however, though, because Reverend Clyde started this whole pajama thing, that before the day is over, we should parade in front of the camera so he can be satisfied that he did good work. Okay, he's going to start the song back up, and we can do that. The title of my message this morning is Creepy Crawlies, because I wanted to do a Halloween theme. It's always really fun to write this particular talk of the year. We're getting close to the other holidays, and you know, there's a theme for Christmas, and there's a theme in November for the stewardship campaign. So this particular talk gives me permission to talk about scary things in a lighthearted way, and I rather like that. I think we're tired of how scared we have been of so many things going on in the world. So Halloween is that spooky time of costumes and make-believe and a little bit of mischief, not just for the children, but also we adults like to be a little bit naughty or a little bit mischievous on this particular holiday. And I love that emphasis on the creepy, crawly monstrosities that have scared us in our living. One of the scary things is that the snowbirds are about to all return. That can be scary when you go to the grocery store to park. So what we're doing now is we're looking at sort of the dark side of life with a rather playful spirit of pulling it all together. But there's that other aspect of the autumn time, this season of harvest, where around in the northern hemisphere especially, we're winterizing. I know my sister they've got, in Michigan, they've got some weather already. And so they winterize their boat, and they bring in their patio furniture, and there are all kinds of things they do. And even here in the desert, there are certain things I do to protect some of my stuff. We protect more in the summer, though, don't we? We have to protect things from the sun. And what we know is that we're right on the edge of winter time. And in winter time, the nights are longer and the days are shorter. And we have this opportunity to sort of snuggle up and find your favorite. I have my favorite couch blanket, and I like soft things that will make me feel cozy. And we take that time of winter as sort of a symbolic way of looking at resting and reflecting and being a little more quiet than we have been in the other seasons of the year. So in this way, the holiday that we call Halloween invites us to a sacred pause. And I like that idea, that it's a chance for us to take a breath in a different way. We can be playful, but we, in this season of darker days, in that darkness, that's the place where we get to honor the mystery of life. The things that live just below the surface of what we can see with the naked eye. And there's that part of everyday living that there's always something just below this surface that does not necessarily have our attention, but is nonetheless a part of life. And so in this interesting perspective that we get to play in at Halloween time in this season, we're reminded that holiness, that the sacredness of life is not limited to just things that sparkle and glitter and dazzle us, but that there's also a holiness that does not shine, that space in sacredness where most seeds, almost every seed, has to germinate in the dark. There's a way that we put seed into the ground, into the earth, and that the husk around the seed over time will break open, and then that seed can start rooting, and then some kind of life stirs inside of it that will grow and break through the surface of the dirt and then gravitate toward the light. But in the darkness, things happen that are very important. And so if I look at that sort of metaphorical way that we're human and divine, the Halloween invites us to sort of examine what kind of masks do we wear in our day-to-day living. What kinds of things do we tend to hide from other people because we're afraid that if people could see the authentic, all of us, the warts and the flaws and all those things, how are those ways that we aren't quite living our most authentic life and we walk with those masks of things we'd like to hide? Another element that comes to mind when we think of the nature of Halloween is that whole way that the origin of this holiday comes the day before November 1st, which is All Saints' Day. And so the mischief is intentional because things are about to get real serious on November 1st. So you do your mischief in the night, in the dark, on October 31st. That leads us into that religious look at All Saints' Day. But All Saints' Day then grew and into All Souls Day, which is sometimes recognized on November 2nd, not November 1st. But you can see that they have sort of melded together, and now we are honoring the Day of the Dead. And so if you look at the indigenous ideas of the earth-based spiritual traditions, what they say is that these are the days, October 31st, November 1st, and November 2nd, these are the days when the veil between the worlds is the thinnest. And so in many traditions, it is a season of playful loss where we acknowledge our loved ones who have passed on in this very interesting, creepy crawly kind of way. When we put it all together, we can see that stepping into winter then with the shorter daylight hours and the longer nighttime hours, I think the beautiful lesson is that God is still equally as present in the dark as God is present in the light. And so this season then is a gorgeous invitation for us to explore the dark side from a perspective of holiness, to really just aim to see the sacredness in all of it, including the playfulness, including whatever that is that has the power to make grown-ups wear pajamas to church on a Sunday morning. So I like the idea of Creepy Crawlies. When I selected that talk title, I was thinking of, later, I didn't think of it immediately. I was actually talking to Kay one day, and I remembered that Arthur Chang, who is a Science of Mind minister at the, I'm not sure he's still living. He's been old for a while. But he was the minister for decades out at Foundations, the big central Science of Mind church in Los Angeles. They call it Founders Church. Ernest Holmes helped design and create that building and was alive for its very first service, though he never actually led services there. But Arthur Chang wrote a talk once and delivered a message that I was fortunate enough to hear. And the title of the talk was, "If God Can Make a Worm Fly." So he's referencing the creepy crawlies in the earth, those wormies, those little grubs that live in the earth that are really good for making the earth be healthy. The processes that the worms do are really good for the land. But a whole bunch of those grubs grow wings. They're not all butterflies. And so I love that statement. If God could make a worm fly, imagine what God might do with your life. It's really fun to ponder such obscure ideas. So we have this invitation to be a little bit playful in the way we look at fear, we make it safe. I don't know, even little babies love peekaboo, and we like to be startled to a point, and then at some point we don't want to be startled anymore. But Dr. Holmes said this. Here's a great quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching. "The first step to overcoming any fear is to concede that God is for us." The first step to overcoming any fear is to concede that God is for us. And so what I hear Dr. Holmes saying in a quote such as this, and he says he suggests truth like this frequently, and he's asking us to be willing to notice what it is that we are afraid of, so that we can then use these spiritual tools to logically reason with our own thinking and choose where we want to place our faith. Because you can have as much faith in gloom and doom or more than you do in the positive aspects of this divine teaching. I notice in my own experience of just kind of living the ordinary day-to-day stuff that when I'm faced with something that is bothersome and something maybe that has my attention and I'm worried or I'm troubled, I can get stuck in a loop of trying to fix whatever it is that feels out of order, right? We get stuck in a loop, and then the possibilities are drastically reduced. And it has to do with the energy that you were reading about, Kay, in that no energy. And by the way, all I could think of was sometimes it's important to say no. Don't scratch no off your list, because we all need to learn how to set better boundaries at one time or another. But that there is an energetic that goes with it that was beautifully stated in that reading. So when I'm stuck in that loop, thinking of praying doesn't occur to me. Right? No, I've got that fix-it energy. I'm a good problem solver. I know I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of good problem solvers. We seem to be attracted to a teaching such as this. And when I think I'm in charge of doing all that, prayer is not something that will come into my mind. And then that comment causes me to remember that beautiful quote from A Course in Miracles that I use with some frequency, where it's written, when you are afraid, it is a sure sign that you are trusting in your own strength. Right? So Holmes says the first step to overcoming any fear is to concede that God is for us or for you. You have to personalize that. Course in Miracles says, when you are afraid, it's a sure sign you're trusting in your own strength. But then I found this quote, also from Dr. Holmes, that I think is such a good follow-up, speaking the very same thought. Fear is based on the supposition that we are unprotected. You can hear how that's the same thing. You're trusting in your own strength. Fear is based on the supposition that we are unprotected, and so therefore, he says, refuse to entertain images of fear. That's it. Refuse to entertain images of fear. Now, last week I went home one day. I was driving home, and I go out this driveway, and I don't live too far from here, and I go past Hospice of the Valley, and I swear there were at least a dozen police cars with their lights on. The whole parking lot was taped off. I got home, and I called Kay because she's a great detective. She's worked with the police in lots of ways through all her life, actually. And I said, Kay, get on this right away. I want to know what happened down there. And we never found out. But you know what happened to me, don't you? These are the times I turn on the TV because I'm nosy and I want to know what happened in my neighborhood. So I turn on the TV and I watch 2 hours of news, and then I had to go take a shower because I felt so damaged. Oh, for goodness gracious sakes alive. I can't even imagine. Ooh. And I never found out what I would really want to look for. But every now and then you got to get shooken up so you can shake out the cobwebs of the things you don't usually think about. There's always something new to be afraid of when you watch the news, that's for sure. So in the spirit of playfulness of Halloween, I think it is the perfect time for us to look up close and personal to those things that frighten us, to those things that go bump in the night. The problem is, we don't like to do that. We do not like to do that. Let me tell you how I know this. I've been teaching spiritual principles for 20-some years. And whenever I bring in one of those exercises where you have an opportunity to look at the dark, you don't want to do it. And it's consistent. And you know who you are. So I got a prac student right now that's always arm wrestling me. Sometimes you just got to look at what scares you, but you cannot do that if you don't understand that parts of life are just scary. It doesn't mean you're not a courageous human. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It just means that life has its ups and its downs, and some things take our breath away, and all of us have different triggers. But it is the looking at the problem instead of resisting it that will help us clarify what we're dealing with. So most people, you're not alone if you're one of them. I don't mean to pick on you. It's Halloween. I get to nag you to look at what scares you. The problem is for most of us is that we will do anything to dodge any idea that even just implies we might be a little scared of something. And I'm just trying to teach fear to faith. It's what every minister does, right? It's your faith that then you can call upon. So if we don't take time to examine what we're afraid of, then the fear, the doubt, the worries, all the difficult things in life can overpower us and can even make you feel numb or paralyzed sometimes. And you all know this. We've all had things that really shook us up. So sometimes we walk through life as if life is hard, and therefore there's been some kind of a spell that's been cast upon us. And the spiritual path is helping us to see that the way it feels like there's a spell that's been cast on us is just really the result of the beliefs that we hold and that we haven't looked at in a greater sense of depth. Once we face the fear, 9 times out of 10, when you look at what you thought was scaring you, it's not quite what you thought it was. Byron Katie, do you know of Byron Katie? Do you remember Byron Katie's work? Does nobody read Byron Katie anymore? Yeah, I see some people saying yes. Byron Katie is, first of all, she's married to somebody really distinguished like Stephen Mitchell, I want to say, a great translator of sacred works. But she is a cognitive behaviorist therapist who has taken a spiritual approach to cognitive therapy. And so what it means is when this is it's called The Work, I think, The Work. So when you're faced with something that you're stuck in that loop and you can't quit thinking about it, you stop and you ask yourself, is it true? Is it true? And then the next question is, but how can I know for sure that it's true or not? And then the third question is, and how does it make me feel to believe it's true? The minute you get to that third question, it's like you can see the weight that we put on ourselves by needing to believe that the worst really could happen. It doesn't help us in any way. And so I love her work, and I love just about everything she's written. She contributes some really good stuff. But once you face the fear, it's not quite what you thought it was. Holmes says, don't fight your fears, but try to see through them, because there's nothing in God's world to be afraid of. I don't know that I believe that all the time. I think there are plenty of things that I'm afraid of, and I think there's wisdom in being cautious in certain situations. But what he's really saying here is that fear is not a thing. Fear is your reaction to the things that you have decided are the scary things in your life. Phineas Quimby is often thought of as the grandfather of New Thought. He was one of the first healers. He was considered a mental healer. So it was sort of before science of mind, and he is at the root of every New Thought faith. Quimby said this, and this is more of an academic quote, but it makes perfect sense. Human misery universally arises from some error that we think is true. We confuse our fears with the idea feared, and thereby we put evil into the thing that we believe. But we never truly see what we are afraid of. And in this way, we are always making our life either heaven or hell. So I have a plan. If I can't take you from fear to faith, I have a plan, and it's an original idea, kind of. I mean, it's universal; anybody could have it. But this is a really good idea. I think this might help to where, if I say, "What are you afraid of?" you 9 times out of 10 will tell me, "I'm not afraid. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm really sad." But we don't. It's hard to see the simplicity of you're either standing in love or you're standing in fear. It's difficult to get from one place to the other. So I simplify that for myself when I have anything that is uncomfortable, when I can feel discord in my experience, then I ask myself, what am I afraid of here? Or if you can't do that, then reword it and say, where is love here? I don't feel love within me. And maybe that would be enough just to acknowledge that the peace and the joy or the comfort or the satisfaction of the orderly sense of of peace in your life is if it's missing, then what's here that I don't want to look at right now, because I promise you God is still there in one way or another. So I like to look at that idea, and I like to ask myself, what am I afraid of here? Where, here might be even better phrasing, where in my own heart am I withholding love right now? And that will always bring clarity. When you ask honest questions like that, you will get clarity. You will answer your own question. So I'm not denying that all those other emotions aren't real. Of course they're real, and they're necessary to our livelihood, or we wouldn't have them. But what I want to do is I want to unify it in such a way that there's a simple process, and that is the cure for any uncomfortable feeling you are experiencing. The cure for all of them is to return to love. And you know how to quickly return to love? This is a fail-safe, works every time. Quickest way to get back to love is find something to be grateful for as quick as you can. Just look for one thing to be grateful for. And that begins then to soften that other energy. In spiritual teachings, it doesn't matter what religion but generally speaking, when we want to stand on a spiritual truth, what we see is the therapist can help you dig up your issues from the past so that you might look at them. But the spiritual principle reminds us that our past does not predict our future. I mean, I was thinking, this is kind of funny if you're me, but isn't that the whole point of reincarnation? The whole theory of reincarnation is that you get to do it over. You know, you bring in your unfinished business and you have an opportunity to do it better this time. So the spiritual truth is that our past does not predict our future as long as we're attentive to learning and growing and stretching and imagining new ways to do things so that we can then make new choices. That's where all our freedom lies. And I would add to that the spiritual truth, when we're standing in spiritual truth, it would be impossible to blame or shame another human being. When you're standing in spiritual truth, I think that's the way we have misunderstood forgiveness. Forgiveness is not saying, you wronged me. Looking at you wronged me, brother. You wronged me, but I forgive you. Right? That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness, when it's pure and holy, lifts the wrong off of you so that you are no longer attached to it, and it becomes as though it never happened, whatever it might have been. So forgiveness would be better understood if we thought of it as acceptance, that people make mistakes in the very same way that I have flaws and I make mistakes too. So it's that same beautiful Buddhist philosophy of just like me, that person's doing the best they can. Jesus said it, he who has no sin, go ahead, throw the first stone, right? It's the same. It's a universal theory here. So the shortcut, if you can't go from fear to faith, if you can't see what's scaring you, and you don't like that, then I have a special little trick that I think will really, really work. Think of it as learning to recognize the stirring inside of you that is that primitive fight or flight movement that happens. Like you're uncomfortable in a certain situation, usually in the face of conflict or discord of some sort, and you just want to get out of there, right? That's the flight. That's the way we're instinctively programmed. And the other thing is that you puff up, and it's not necessarily about throwing punches. It's more about how we armor ourselves, or we defend ourselves. And sometimes we're trying to defend our tarnished honor, our character. But then we get combative and argumentative. So a good example of that in a sweetly subtle, almost disguised way is when your partner, whoever you're living with, or your best friends that you hang out with the most, when we're grumpy and we take it out on our loved ones. Right? So that's a way you're fighting, even though you're not duking it out. You have that fighting. You're armored up. You're ready to be combative. You got your weapons all ready. So notice those things. Look for those times where you feel like you want to get out of there. Or better yet, what are your habits? What are your patterns for when you are avoiding something? And we all have something. It's just a part of life. These are the defense mechanisms they teach in all the 101 psych classes. Everybody knows them. What are the ways that you the subtleties of fight or flight? For instance, flight might be when you're fleeing from something you don't want to address. It might be that you go to your computer and you click on Amazon, and then you know how easy it is to go shopping. One click, you're right there, and they deliver. It's so cool. Or maybe it's a glass of wine, or maybe yours is a food, emotional eating. I know there's a joke in my family. I wished I knew where I think it came from a Saturday Night Live skit, but all of my kids, the joke is when you go through something traumatic, when you get really bad news or something traumatic is happening in your life or to a loved one, you go straight to Costco and you buy a sheet cake. You buy a really big sheet cake, and then you bring it home and you don't cut it, you just get out a fork. I don't know. Sounds pretty good to me. So what are your patterns as the way you experience fight or flight? And I want to say that I believe part of my formula is that there's fight and there's flight, and you want to look for your own patterns so that you can start catching it, so that you can return to love as soon as possible. But the third thing I wanted to talk about today is maybe it's not even your fear. Sometimes it's everybody else's fear that spills into our lives, and then we feel like we're stuck carrying around fear that's not even ours, except we don't always notice it's not ours. So Carl Jung would call that the collective consciousness, and all the metaphysicians from the 20th century referred to that as race consciousness, meaning the conscious sort of memory that lingers in the consciousness of all humanity that we pick up on, and then you act it out even though it's not yours. And we know that, there are a lot of people that are very sensitive. You can be in the grocery store and pass an angry person and you can feel that energy, right? We're attuned to that. But remember, it's not always, I'm always asking myself, is that mine, or is that just what's going on in the world right now? Because if it's the world, I can choose here. I can still find peace in my own being. Dr. Holmes worded it this way: it is possible for us to catch fear from others as much as we might catch a cold, for we are all unconscious mental, emotional, and spiritual broadcasters. He says our real enemies, this is so helpful, our real enemies are our fears and phobias, our doubts and our uncertainties, our anxieties, and our inner conflicts. So, how do we practice this in our own lives? And I say, catch that feeling of the fight or the flight so that you can redirect the emotion around it. And when we redirect our thinking, we are empowering our lives because we're lining to that power that's greater than we are. So look for the clues. Know what your escape routes are. And if it's a sheet cake, maybe you should invite a friend to share it with you. What are your flight patterns? Where do you defend yourself? And how can we set ourselves free? And it's always by returning to love. Once we recognize that we have this ability to reason through any situation, then we are using our minds. That is why this teaching is called The Science of Mind. It's about healthy thinking. It's about constructive decision making. And it's about knowing that sometimes in the midst of the fire, we can't go right to prayer, right? Many years ago, my husband was traveling. Our children were, we were empty nesters for a minute anyhow. And I was home alone in the middle of the night and I heard glass breaking in the kitchen and went, oh, that can't be good. And I woke up and I'm the only person in the house, so I got to walk down and investigate what happened in the kitchen. And I came face to face with a possum in my kitchen. Let me tell you, the closest thing I got to prayer was, oh God. And I did the flight thing. I darted down the hall to close all the bedroom doors and the bathroom door so I could contain him. Because once I squealed at that possum, he jumped off the sink and ran behind the refrigerator. And I went, oh, I have time to close some doors. And then I went and I had a neighbor next door who was always awake before the sunshine. And he used to be a pest. He used to do that for profession. Remove nasty, creepy, crawly critters in the kitchen in the dark hours of the morning. So I went and got him, and he armored up. He came over with a broom. And he tried to scare that possum out from behind the refrigerator. And we never saw the possum again, but he said that possum you got to leave that door open the same way he got in. Because I left the door open for the dog. He wants to get out that way too. So just go back to your room, sleep it off. When you wake up in the morning, we'll check it all out in the daylight. And I never saw the possum again. So, you got to gather information. You got to investigate, rally the troops, and then we choose wisely. And admittedly, we don't return to love in an instant. I guess it's possible, but not with my level of passion. But what happens over time is that every situation evolves and we can witness satisfying conclusions to all the dilemmas in life. The way this looks in terms of the turmoil in the world right now, I would say this Sunday message is a good, there are some good quotes to access. And so I will just share those two from Holmes that I want you to take away the most. I'm sure Miss Kay will get them on the internet for us with something pretty around them, whatever. But to shorten it, Holmes said, refuse to entertain images of fear. That's a big one. When you're stuck in that and all you can see is the nasty parts, refuse to entertain those images. That's when you go, stop it, like Bob Newhart, stop it. Get a different thought. And the second one was concede that God is for you. Concede that God is for me. Say that with me right now. I concede that God is with me, for me. Thank you. Misquoted my own quote. So this dark energy that Halloween has stirred, such a lovely opportunity for me to converse over. This dark energy is difficult, but remember that there is no less God in the dark energy than the light energy. Learn to think of dark energy as womb energy. in the dark, things are gestating, coming into being. And in the process of gestation, unborn potential is developing safely as it should be, even when we're most afraid. I want to close with a wonderful tidbit from Brene Brown. The real place of mystery is faith. It is not fear. It is not goblins and ghosts. It is where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of the fear of uncertainty. And that's what needed to be said today. Get comfortable where you're seated. You may close your eyes or take a soft focus on something in this room while together we turn within. Gently, we move into that beautiful place within. The indwelling presence of God, tucked sweetly in that secret place of the Most High. And together we just breathe and we recognize that this is a perfect time for prayer. The week before tricks and treats and goblins and crawlies, where we take a bold look at the fear and the things that frighten us, those things that go bump in the night. And we remember with this great precise attention that right where we are is God, and that no dark night is void of that presence. So I feel the love of God. I feel it within me right now. I feel it in this sanctuary as an activity of life that is moving freely and profoundly. And I know that it is the same presence of love that is everywhere, all at the same time. And so as we align, no matter where we are listening from, as we align to this truth, it's as if the cells of our body respond to the words of this prayer. That there is a realignment of health and vibrancy and vitality within our physical being. And with these things moving into perfect order, there is this way that the wholeness of life can express through us. That these eternal truths can be revealed in our living so that we see our experiences aligning to spiritual truths. We can see that the things that we think about are constantly being cleansed with this grace of God that streams into our lives and changes our physical being. God's sweet grace, freely given, not earned. That there is that way in which we are called into spiritual community so that we might enjoy each other's company, that we can laugh over our funny costumes, that we can join together in this way that life flourishes when we let love flow. So I say thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, infinite Spirit, for renewing our understanding that yes, there is day and yes, there is night. And like the yin and the yang, there is this movement. It is like a wheel. And that seasons change and that bodies change and relationships change, but always is the wholeness desiring to be revealed and expressed in our living. So with that spirit of deep, deep gratitude, I simply release these words into the law, knowing indeed that it is already done. And together we say, And so it is. Amen. Amen.
Grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look and every face I see is love reflected, shining back to me. I just say thanks to all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have.
And I am so grateful for this day, for this beautiful day of creepies and crawlies and fun, and this season of facing our fears and looking those in the eye. And I'm grateful for all of you being here. It's time to give our offering. We do have the boxes near the exits into Papke Hall and over as you exit the room there, and then also one in the bookstore. Or you can give online or using the QR code on the screen if you are watching on Facebook. So we'll say our joyful giving affirmation together. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. And make sure that you join us after service. There is call to prayer. We have some snacks in Papke Hall. Stay for the sound bath, and if you are coming to Drum Circle next week, make sure you bring a drum or percussion instrument. And that is all. Thank you so much.
Please rise for our last song. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Let me hear you. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. I'm not thinking about my problems. I'm living now. I'm living now. And I ain't gonna worry about the future. I'm living now. I'm living now. So put your hands up if you feel like having a good time. Put your hands up if you're sharing love with all. Raise your cup if you're hopeful for tomorrow. Put your hands up if you're ready to have some fun. Oh, it feels so good to be alive.
Everybody come on up get in a line. We're going to bring it around the circle. You got the Halloween costume. This is basically for Clyde. So
Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels
keep
good.
it going. We
Only
got to
got
see
one
Witchy
life,
Poo.
live
Come
in
on.
the moment.
Come on, take your
Feels good,
shortcuts.
don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. One more time. Oh, it feels so good to be alive.
Okay, here's an affirmation for you. Repeat after me. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
I know how big my God is. Let's live this week Amen. Thanks for being here. Remember, pray often, love much.